Hello, everybody. Welcome to MEDIADOM, the podcast where every week we discuss all things media. My name is Manu.
And my name is Rebecca, and in this episode, we will be talking about the first season of WandaVision. This show stars Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany in the title roles, and featuring Deborah Robb, Catherine Hahn, Kat Dennis, Randall Park, Damon Harris, among others. And it was created by Jack Schaefer. All of the episodes were directed by Mark Shakeman, and if you're watching this, you're probably already familiar with the premise. We released our first episode was actually about the first two aired episodes of WandaVision, and we waited all this time to finally watch the entire season and talk about the show overview as a whole. So, what are your general thoughts about the show? Did you like it or did you not? Were you satisfied?
Yeah. So just overall, I liked it, of course. It's like I liked the first couple episodes. Some of the issues or concerns that I had, I think were some of them may have been valid, but others, ones that were more relevant to me were ended up being kind of not ultimately the case. And yeah, it seemed it ultimately I think it was I don't think it's my favorite Marvel Studios thing. I don't think it's even my favorite Marvel Studios like television season, but it is very good, and I am looking forward to like it does give me hope for what they do with the other shows. So yeah, I really like it. What about you?
I did like it a lot. I I was watching it with my friend Lucy. Shout out. And
Hmm.
we just fangirl about everything. We just spent like an hour talking about it. Like, did you like this? Did it? Because Wanda is her favorite character. So she really
Yeah.
I was very interested, but watching it with simultaneously with her made the experience a lot more fun because her enthusiasm for the Wanda character was really contagious. So I got a lot more excited hearing her talk about Wanda and her character. I don't think I even answered the question, but yes, I did like it. Yes.
All right. So overall, it seems like this is gonna be another one of those episodes where we mostly agree, which is cool. But
Yeah.
hopefully before the 10th episode, we'll have one where we have some fiery discussion. But anyway, so I guess we should start talking about some of the more specific things. Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure. What's the best thing? What do you think it's the best thing that the show accomplished?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good idea. Like best thing, worst thing would be nice. So for me, I think the best thing was the thing that I was excuse me, the thing that I was most concerned about uh as we were actually for the for the entirety of the show up until the last 10 minutes, I was concerned about how the show would do in relation to like excuse me, like what would the show's priority be? Would it be like haha Marvel fun lore comic book thing reference for the audience, or would it be to really give like really honor the story they were telling, not like honor the comics, but like the sense of really giving a resolution to what the show was about? Which, I mean, at the end of the day, it was literally a show about just Wanda having feelings, and the resolution of it has to do with her confronting those feelings. My fear was that in one way or another that she would ultimately like have some kind of regression, right? Like where this whole thing starts because she loses Vision and everyone else, and by the end, my worry was that she wouldn't lose them, like she would still have them, and it would be like, okay, so what was the point, right? Like what was the point emotionally? And
Yeah.
no, that didn't actually happen. Ultimately, she did grow. As I guess we'll see where it goes with the whole white Vision thing. But as of right now, I mean, it's same thing as we said with Superman, right? Like right now, it's really good. I hope it doesn't. I hope we don't look like fools in a while. And worst. Oh, okay. So would you like to say the best thing, or should I say the worst thing?
Maybe we can say best and worst,
Okay,
right?
yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
For me, it was also character. Marvel in several of their movies have really sacrificed like the supporting characters arc. That's why all of them have shows right now. I'm talking about Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson, WandaVision. Uh,
Mhm,
most of the times, they really sacrifice what it was like their character arc just for the overall plot. And I was very happy that it didn't happen in this show because there were a lot of theories on the internet that it was going to be about the multiverse or that it was going to be about Mephisto. And at the end of the day, it was none of those things. And it was just about an exploration of Wanda's grief. And it really like went to
mhm.
establish that she's still a hero despite all the things that she did. And I really like that it was more like a character introspection rather than an overall like plot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, totally. So I guess we should talk now. Get a little more negative, right?
Yeah.
I guess talk about the worst thing. Yeah. So for me, I I feel like in some points, and I don't know if this applies to you as well, but sorry, I feel like I'm gonna come off really negative in this episode because I can come up with a lot of like things that I didn't love about it, but I would like to make it clear that yeah, I mean, I overall also really liked it. I think the crux of the show was well handled. Every complaint that I have is just the same thing as with all the Marvel movies, right? Like, I mean, we haven't talked about them much in this show, but that I
We
have a
will.
lot of issues with them, but I also really appreciate the things that they do well. And for me, generally, the good things are more relevant to me than the bad things in them. So bad things here, bad like worst things here. I think for me, because I really like that they set up Monica Rambeau. I'm sorry for the pronunciation of her last name. I'm not sure if that's correct. I really like that they set up her character because I mean it just like for the future. I imagine she's gonna be either in possibly Secret War is I think that's what it's called, and she may be on a couple others. And I like her as a character. That's
Yeah.
fine. I just I question, and I mean, because they've done this in the past, right? Because they did in Civil War the whole story is about Tony and Steve, but at the same time they also have the origin of Black Panther, and
Yeah.
that's like a magic trick. Like I don't know how they did it in such a way that it worked, but I mean no, actually I do. It works because it is related to the story thematically and emotionally, and I feel like it is here, but I don't know how much. So I'm not sure. I guess it's the kind of thing where like they got as close to it being like thematically and emotionally related and relevant as they could, but it still feels a little bit like okay, yeah, it's Marvel. We have to set up things for the future. I feel like it's a complicated
Thing.
balancing
Yeah.
act, and they strike it fine. I yeah, it's what it is. It's weird. And um, well, I guess yeah. I mean, yeah. I get well. Okay, I'm gonna say it's gonna sound awful, but obviously the visual effects look great. I could have done with a little less like fighting in the last episode. I liked everything else. Just the fighting it looks cool, but I can do without it honestly. So yeah, that's for me. What about you?
It's gonna sound really lame, but I really didn't like what they did with Quicksilver, Pietro. I was very
All right.
disappointed on that. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought he was going to be like really Quicksilver from the dead. I don't know what I was
Mhm.
expecting, but definitely Ralph Boner was not what I was expecting, and I was very sad because it's the second time that this character has been like written off. First it was Age of Ultron, he was killed, and now he's just like someone from his town uh, who have no relevance to the plot at all. So yeah. Oh, and I didn't like there wasn't too much of Darcy in the final episode. She was just like in one scene and
All
that
right.
was
Yeah.
it. And I was like, I want to see more of her. Like, where
Yeah.
is she? That's it. Those are the only
That's a
things.
good point. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think of the whole Darcy having too little screen time in the end. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I think it also has to do with like um and I guess we'll talk more about this later on, but like the format of the show where like at least for me for the majority of the show, um my how much I cared in the moment really depended on what the format was. Like, what were we watching, the show inside the show, or were we watching this whole like sword agents thing? Like, it's, yeah, I think both are fine, but I definitely, and this is part of what I said about the worst thing for me, that I definitely cared more about the Wanda thing, and the rest kind of seemed like explanation. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll talk about Quicksilver when we talk about him, or we can talk about him right now if you'd like. That's probably where we're gonna disagree the most, even though I think you are right. But I also disagree with you.
Well, we can talk about it right now because he is
All
not
right.
even he's not even a supporting character. He's just like there. I am very angry about that.
Well, he does support the villain for a long time, so in a way he is a supporting character, just not in the way you probably
Thought it
intended
was
that
it was
word.
gonna be yeah.
No, but I mean, I think I see what you're saying, and when you said that it was like it's the second time around, yeah, that's that's completely
It stinks.
100% valid. Yeah, because it's and no, actually, you know what? It's the third time around. I don't know if you watched Dark
The
Phoenix, or if you
X-Men.
remember it. Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
also shafted in the last one. Because I
In
think they
the
like broke
Dark
his
Phoenix, I
his leg or
think.
something. Yeah.
They
So
really don't like his
technically, like
character.
this, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's the worst track record of any character ever. So it, in a way, I understand the sentiment, but I also feel like what could it have been in such a way that it didn't mess with the crux of the story or the flow of it? I don't know. I mean, I'm the, like I always say, like, you can make anything work. You just have to make it work. But in this case, I don't know what they could have done, and I guess, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like when they play Marvel fans, because I don't I have a lot of, I for a long time, I like, I also make theories and all that, but
Yeah.
I also, I really like when shows and movies are more about like just, hey, character and store in their story, than they are about like, look, character you like. But in this case, I understand how it may feel like kind of a tease, because everybody wanted him back, and with the actor and all that, it may feel like kind of a tease. I generally like them playing fans like that, but I also understand why you might feel kind of cheated, because yeah, the third time around, they just don't like it.
Yeah. Poor Quicksilver.
They're just trying to get rid of all the Quicksilver fans and the MCU fan. They're making like a purge of them. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, I honestly, I can tell you that I have been very disappointed in the constant non-appearance of Silver Surfer in all of these movies and TV shows. So I understand the
The
feeling. Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm only half joking. I'm half serious with that.
So, what did you think about Wanda's character arc? She's the main character
Yeah,
in the entire story. So, what did you think about her arc?
yeah. So as I think, as I hinted at earlier, I think it was handled really well. I was worried at first. I was worried at many points, actually, because I wasn't sure. At the very beginning, I wasn't sure if they were gonna go like, oh, she's doing this, like she's behind this. And then when they did it, I was like, okay, great. Oh, but now I worry that they're gonna like really antagonize her and not really make us empathize with her. And then they started to really make us empathize with her, and I was like, oh, okay. But then I worried, oh my god, are they gonna be like condoning like terrible these terrible acts of like mind control? And then they didn't. And then we meet like the real villain, and it's like, oh my god, are they gonna remove her agency and just have this be made by by this other villain? And also no. So yeah, I had a lot of moments where I was like, oh god, I'm worried because I feel like these guys are because because it's there are a lot of, I feel like in producing these things there are a lot of conflicting interests with who you want to appeal to,
Yeah.
and I fear how it may sometimes influence the way something is produced. Perhaps I feel like I'm kind of scarred by Star Wars Episode 9, and that kind of makes me afraid for everything. But but
I
yeah,
think
so
we all are
that's
scarred by that movie.
yeah. So just generally speaking, I really liked it. I guess we can discuss it in a moment, but that's, I wanted to open just by saying I was scared at many points. How'd you feel?
I thought it was gonna go all full House of M because I remember we talked a little bit about in the first episode that we ever released. You talked a little bit about what was House of M, but I hadn't read it at the moment. I did.
Me either.
Yeah, you read it. You told me.
Oh, if I don't, I'm not, I'm pretty sure I said that I read about it,
Oh my
but
god!
like I had it because I have the files, but I never actually read it.
Read it.
If I did say that I read it, I'm sorry, I misspoke. No, I didn't read it. I just know kind of what it was.
Oh, I'm shocked. I thought you read it, but
I
okay.
apologize.
I read it this time around, and I thought it was
No,
gonna
it's
go
long,
that
and I'm not gonna
road.
read that.
It's not that
Okay. Oh,
long.
really?
I mean, I swear,
All right.
I have read comic books. There was this one Doomsday Clock that was 12 issues, each one of 150 pages. This one is only eight of
Oh,
25 pages each, so it's not that much.
oh well. Well, but the thing, I think it's different because I like reading like with tie-ins for the characters that I like, and I feel like that's where it gets really big. Because I mean I like to read just also like, I don't know, like it's a like all of the character, like with I feel like I think it was Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity, the third one, where I was like, I read the main one, but I also read like, oh, the Adam Warlock follow-up, sorry, the tie-ins and the Silver Surfer tie-ins and the Doctor Strange tie-ins and the Spider-Man tie-ins, and it's like that's when it gets really long and tiring. But yeah, I mean, and I
Um,
haven't read comics in like over a year,
in a
so
while.
I'm a little rusty on it. But yeah, so sorry, go ahead. Now you're the
Um,
expert here. I mean, you always were, because
no, I'm
I only know
not.
the premise.
I was
But go ahead,
reading.
go ahead.
I was reading it, and it was kind of
Hmm.
like Wanda created this sort of alternate reality, and she
Hmm.
like really strange things were happening. Like, oh, Peter Parker was married to Gwen Stacy, and he was an actor, and things like that. So I thought, like,
Yeah.
I could see why they were always comparing WandaVision
Hmm.
with House of M. So
Hmm.
I thought they were gonna go that road because at the end of the House of M issues, Wanda literally loses her mind and she erases every single one of the mutants, and only like a small amount of
Oh
mutants
my god.
remain on Earth. She literally goes crazy. So I thought, like, oh my god, this is gonna. And since there were rumors that Wanda was gonna be the bad guy in Doctor Strange, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like Wanda is gonna go crazy at the end because she's gonna lose her babies, and she's gonna go like full on bad mode.
Hmm.
And I was glad it didn't because yes, they took into consideration the fact that what she did wasn't right,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, she sacrificed a lot.
Hmm.
To do the right thing. And that makes her a hero in my eyes. And I really like that she's still a hero, a flawed hero, something that not a lot of female heroes get to do. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to bash on Captain Marvel, but she's basically flawless. She really doesn't have a lot of flaws. And I like that they played with that aspect in Wanda's character, that they're
Hmm.
still considering all the bad things she did, but she's still a hero. And I think that's a lot more meaningful. especially for a female character, because female characters are always like supposed to be perfect, and I'm glad they didn't go with it on this show.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, a lot to comment on, but I'm gonna start by saying that when you mentioned that in the end of House of M, she literally loses her mind. I just picture like a panel of her saying like, "Oh my God, where is my mind?" Like the last panel in the the run. No, but then you said that I feel like in compare, and I'm not sure about this. So yeah, if anyone can fact check me on this, go ahead. But like if I remember correctly, I feel like House of M was mainly like written by men, probably because it's the
Yeah.
comics industry. And so
Yeah.
what the yeah
More
the
than
reason
likely.
yes, the reason why I like these when stories from the comics are adapted to different mediums is that they can be retold with some of the with a new perspective, you know, because a lot of them are really terrible, honestly. And so I'm sorry, but and so this is one of those cases where like I didn't read it, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of, I don't know, I feel like it kind of played on the whole like, oh, woman go crazy, you know, trope. Like I mean, it's kind of strange. So I like I 'cause if I'm not mistaken, like this show was ran by a woman, and the way that it's written, it feels very balanced in such a way that um it's not like, oh, she goes crazy. It's only like she's in pain and she has a lot of power. Think something like this was bound to happen, but she also has agency, and it
Yeah.
becomes hard to take control of that agency because for some time the agency is subordinated to her really intense feelings, you know. And actually I would like to correct myself from a minute ago. I actually did read one tie-in from House of M when I was reading for Jessica Jones like 5 years ago, because I think there are like 2-3 issues in 'cause Jessica Jones has like her first series was called Alias, I think, and then the second one was called The Pulse, and I think The Pulse has like 3 tie-in issues to House of M, and I was really confused when I read them, but then I understood what was happening. But yeah, so that's all I know about House of M.
Wait, the House of M was written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Uh, of course it was.
Of course it was.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean I think he also wrote. No, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna make any big statements here. No, but talking about what you were saying, yeah, I agree that it was a tough thing to balance. I feel like the fear that I had constantly was kind of I don't know if intended, but I feel like they knew it. I feel like they are aware of the kind of way that they are shaping audience expectations as they go along
Yeah.
with what happens, because it really works, because the idea is to make you doubt how much is she like on in her senses, how much is she really responsible for this,
Yeah.
and you know how much of a hero she is. That's why I think it really works when just, you know, the like the entire last episode, and I think we could talk about some of the more specific episodes in the moment, but yeah, like the entire last episode was her just like suffering. Like the whole show was her suffering, but this one was
Yeah,
like,
but
that one was like her
eight
coming
and
to,
nine were those like, how
yeah,
much pain can one handle? Literally.
yeah, I mean that's a whole MCU so far, but yeah, so kind of. And you know what, actually I talked to a friend of mine yesterday, and she said that like after watching this she really loves Wanda. She liked her before, and I feel like
Yeah.
we all are going through kind of that. And we were talking about what might happen down the road with like Doctor Strange, and
Yeah.
she worried, and I share the worry that it might be a bit of a regression if she is the villain
Yeah.
in that film, because it's gonna be like, wait, is she having the same character arc? And then either I don't know if I wanted to like defend Marvel or if it is an insightful thing, but I said, oh, so she's gonna be like the new Tony Stark, right? Because it's like it's the same thing.
Oh
He's also
man.
constantly like making like the same
There's
mistake
mistakes.
but bigger each time. So and but people seem to like that, so I guess, I mean, if that is what they do with her, I guess we'll see how people react, because a lot of them don't seem to mind when Tony Stark keeps making the same mistake. So I guess we'll see what happens
What
if
happens
when
next?
Wanda doesn't. Yeah. But I mean, if she's the centerpiece of the MCU, maybe not for the rest of this year, but next year when we get to the bigger things,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm completely on board, because she's been in the MCU for what, it was 2015, what, 6 years now,
Yeah, and she
and
was underappreciated.
yeah, definitely. And I also want to comment on what you said about Captain Marvel, because I mean, I like her. I'm a fan. I like her film. I understand the idea, the notion that she's like flawless. I feel like she's the kind of character where it's not so much about um that kind of conflict that characters like Wanda or Tony Stark are like, and it's more like it's more like the Captain America Winter Soldier kind of arc, where it's like she needs to, I mean, whether or not she's like perfect or not, like the issue is more about how, like, whether she allows herself to be changed by the world around her, where I mean, Captain America doesn't, of course, until he does. And so, because what I really liked about her film was just, I mean, her character arc is like the reason why I like that movie. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about that one day. But
One day.
what I say is they're different characters. I feel like they're doing fine with both of them, but really well with Wanda, because yeah, she's got more time to shine now, fortunately.
Yeah.
So
So
I guess,
about
oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Vision, what do you think about him?
He's great. I
Yeah.
I really like him. Because and I feel like because it could have been like the whole White Vision thing. It kind of, it might feel to some people like it's kind of superfluous. Like, why are we doing this? The story is not about this. They don't even give us closure to it. Um, but I feel like it contributes because the show is very heavily about like identity, and
Mhm.
I mean, that's the whole crux of what Vision is here, right? Like, it's what he's always been.
Yeah.
Um, every single movie, every single time he shows up, there's always something to do with how much of a person he is. And here it's like yeah, that he has that line in the, I think it was the last episode, where he says like, oh, I've been a voice without a body without a soul, and now a memory without the something. I don't know. I can't remember the full line.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I was
but
crying by then. I was
and so it's really cool because he's really interesting. Like the crux of that character
yeah.
has always been that line he has on Age of Ultron, where he's like, I was born yesterday, but he's like, he has all the knowledge in the world. So there's like this innocence and optimism
Yeah.
yeah, this drive to always see
He's
the best
very
in
wise,
everyone and in
but
the world.
he's very naive
Yeah,
at the same time. Like yeah.
that's exactly what it is. Because of course he has a lot of moments of like enlightenment throughout the show, but he's also like a complete like I don't want to say idiot, but he's kind of dumb in a lot of points,
Like a
in the
dork.
sense of like,
He's a little bit
yeah, sorry,
dorky.
that's the word exactly. Yeah, he's a giant dork.
I love those
And
kind of
I mean,
characters.
I had to say that I really like when we ended that last, it wasn't seventh episode, no, I'm sorry, I think it was the seventh episode, where he's on the truck with
Oh,
Darcy,
with
and he's
Darcy,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and I mean, it's great because when the show started, I didn't really understand what he knew and what he didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, was he forgetting things, or was he ignoring things, like what, deliberately ignoring things? And then when they tell us that he basically doesn't remember anything before the beginning of the show, that really sets things shakes things up, because it's like, in the moment that he understands all of the context of what happened with Wanda and all that, he's like, oh God. So I mean, like, he was antagonizing her before, and while he
Yeah.
understands that it's wrong, he's like, oh my God, like she needs help. She doesn't need me to antagonize
She
her. She needs
needs
help.
therapy.
Yeah. and and it's really touching, honestly. And
Yeah.
um
I think his
yeah, I mean,
character arc is one of the reasons why Wanda and Vision are a really great couple, if not the best of the MCU.
yeah, because I mean, we discussed it on the first episode. We did first discussion that their relationship was largely off screen. So
Yeah.
the fact that they retroactively have made us care about it a lot is a real testament to how well this is written. Because yeah, I mean, I question whoever watches this and goes, yeah, I don't get why they like each other. And I like, no, they
Yeah.
that I feel like you really do buy it, and you really do feel it. And yeah, I mean, just that small scene in the eighth episode where they talk in the bed, and
Oh my God,
that
yes.
that's a really solid. That's a really
Yes, that's a really,
really good.
every writer wants to like write a scene with a line
I
as memorable and meaningful as the one is what is grief preserving? What is grief
I
if not
I
love
hate
preserving?
that social media kind of made me then hate myself for liking that line, because everyone just started the first like 5 hours of internet fame that that line had were like,
Yeah,
great, amazing, it's a great line, the
it
line
is a
that every
great
writer would like
line.
to have. The next day it was like,
I
what is
mean,
grief if not some of the letters of the world Garfield but rearranged? And I was like, oh my god, no, I'm gonna feel bad
uh,
for liking a Marvel thing again. No,
I
not
saw
this
one
again.
that was like, what is procrastination if not preserving happiness or something like that? And I was like,
Yeah, yeah, so it's, yeah, they just it, but on its own it's a very good line. It's meaningful for in the context, and
yeah,
it's yeah, like just before it became like a joke, I saw a lot of people saying that, no, like this really resonates with me and all that. And that's,
yeah,
I mean, that's the point of it, right? So
yeah.
I like it. And yeah, I mean, oh, also I think I really like that they contextualize the whole sitcom thing in the eighth episode, because
Yes,
I feel
it was
when,
really well
because
done.
I had heard of that explanation where it's like, oh yeah, Eastern Europeans usually, and especially in the Cold War, like they watched like American and UK television, and so it's like, hey, we want to live the American dream and not live in like these terrible countries,
Yeah.
terrible because of the circumstances imposed by the government, right? So, and it's and I had heard that explanation, but I like that it was made clear, because I'm sure a lot of people would, and if it wasn't, I'm sure a lot of people would end the show and be like,
Why the
oh,
sitcoms?
but why sitcom though? And it's like, I mean, I feel like it would have worked even without it, but I'm glad that they did it
That they, yeah,
explicitly. I prefer things being too explicit, because especially with Marvel movies, the textual analysis of them is often very, very thin. So I like when they give that kind of context, even if it is on the nose.
I
I like
like
when
that.
things are on the nose. I mean, I like Star Wars, so yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, overall, I really liked it. I also like them. They surprised me with Vision, that that in the sense that the vision that we were following from episode one was not the
The real
body.
vision, the
Yeah,
real
I
corporal
mean, or
vision,
was he
because
the
he
real
was,
Vision?
because he both of them were the real vision. We got that in the final
Yeah,
episode, but he was not the one with the body. He was just like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
I'm glad
they
it's
that was well
understood.
handled. Yeah. It was very well handled overall, and I really like that they resolved it with a discussion. That seems like a very Vision thing to do.
Yeah.
um, like
It was a lot
it
of
just yeah,
fun.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
definitely,
it's really on character. Like as you said, it's something that
yeah,
he would have said. Like,
yeah,
and it also goes to show like he's kind of like a pacifist because he's like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm gonna explain to you what's going
yeah,
on.
and yeah, and upon when I watched the episode the second time, I noticed that that he's from the get go of the fight, he's like, can we resolve this in a peaceful manner, or something like that? And it's like, yeah, that's really cool, because that's who they set up the character to be from the
Yeah,
get go. Because there's
yeah,
that brilliant scene in the second Avengers outing, at the very end with Ultron, where he's very insightful, and he's in that really unforgettable, probably one of the best moments in the whole MCU, where Ultron is like, they're doomed, talking about humanity, and Vision is like, yes, they are, but I think isn't beautiful because because it lasts, and it exemplifies what he is, where he's like directly engaging with this maniac, and he's just talking, but he also like he's willing to do what's necessary,
Yeah.
and he's a mixture of thoughtful but also naive, and it's great. It's wonderful. It's always wonderful how they manage to keep these characters consistent, even the
Yeah.
ones that are inconsistent, like Tony, like Wanda, who seem to kind of regress, have some um yeah, it's wonderful. It's great.
Is it weird that Vision reminds me of like Superman?
No, it's totally it's exactly yeah, it's exactly right, I think.
Yeah,
He
because
reminds me too.
like you were talking about it, and he's naive and he's hopeful, and like he's also like really wise, and I was like, that's Superman in DC Comics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, absolutely. And I
now
mean,
I
if you think
understand
about
why
it,
I really like him.
yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, I feel like if Lois Lane somehow magically got those kinds of powers, and same thing, right? Like Superman
Yeah,
died
yeah,
and he
yeah.
brought her back and all that, that would absolutely be the reaction he would have. So yeah,
Wow, that
I
parallel,
agree.
that parallel really
Yeah.
made me love the couple like three times more. Like I already liked them, but now that
Right.
we made the parallel with Lois and Clark, I'm like, I'm 100% more invested right now because they really are like
Yeah, it's a
kind of
good thing
parallel.
they're one of them is dead.
Very
So
quickly, okay, we're not gonna go that way.
but yeah, I mean, they just Vision really is and the MCU has done this a lot, where they have a lot of Superman type characters, because Vision is like that. I would argue that Captain America,
Captain
for the
America.
most part, is like that.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
pre-Endgame.
I don't know. Maybe even for most of Endgame, but he has his moments. But I feel like those. I mean, like for example, Civil War is kind of like, for a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they're kind of like split in half. Half of them are like, I loved him up until Civil War, and the other half is like, he was really boring until Civil War, because that's the one where he makes morally ambiguous choices. But I feel like those are Superman type and morally ambiguous choices at the end of the day. So yeah, I feel like he's always that kind of character. I feel like Black Panther is also very Superman like,
Superman like.
not in his role, but well, I mean, was, I'm sorry. But in his, just the way he carries himself. And also, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you watched this one, but the Luke Cage, from the Luke Cage TV show, he's also very much, and from Jessica Jones, he's also very much like a Superman type character. So yeah, honestly, they're
And
showing off at this
Superman
point.
and really, yeah.
At this point, they're just showing off that they have more and better Superman characters than DC on film, sadly, except for well, I
Superman and
mean,
Lois and
yeah.
for me, Smallville. I really like Smallville.
Yeah, but Smallville's been over for a while, is the problem. Like
Yeah.
10 years ago. So yeah, what else can we talk about? Or would you like to cap off on
Oh,
the Vision subject? Just like final
no,
words on it?
I mean, I agree with everything you said. I really like he was in the real, or like the real corporal vision. I like that they're
Mhm,
ending at the very end of episode 9, like their goodbye wasn't like
mhm.
dramatic. I mean, it was dramatic, but it wasn't like angsty. It was like really like
Oh yeah.
we're gonna say goodbye, and we're gonna see each other again because we are that kind of couple that
Yeah.
always like bounces back. So I really like that, and I think it was a really well done closure for
True.
Vision, for this side of Vision, because there's still the other White Vision out
Yeah.
there. Who knows what's gonna happen? I hope they end up together because they deserve happiness. But I like the closure. I also like. I don't think I'm making a lot of sense, but I like that the White Vision flew in the middle of a scene just to give the Vision that we've been following for the 9 episodes the proper closure he deserved. I think that was a real well done
Mhm. Yeah.
thing. And yeah, that's basically what I like. Like I agree with everything you said, and that's my extra comment. But
I guess we'll see what they do
with White
with the White
Vision,
Vision in the future. Yeah, I'm interested. So what else can we talk about like specific things here?
the villain.
Oh yeah. So would you like to start with this one?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
spent a lot of time like reading theories, and I was 100% sure that Agnes was gonna be Memphis, though, not
No.
Agatha
Oh.
Harden. Yeah, I didn't even know the character because, as I said, I'm a much more DC Comics fan. I read a lot
Yeah.
more books from
We hate
DC
Marvel. Yeah.
than Marvel, so I didn't know like Agatha Harkness.
Hmm.
And after they revealed it, I went to the internet and I was like, "Who's Agatha Harkness?" Because I had no idea who she was. I like her. I like her theme song. It was amazing.
Oh
It,
yeah.
it lives in
Definitely.
my mind rent free. Like it's a great total bomb. You know that it was the writers from Frozen ones that wrote that song.
I did not know that actually, but that actually that's really cool. They just keep banging with those songs. Honestly.
Yeah, I like her. I really, really enjoy the part that she took magic from the undeserving. Like it's really
Yeah, that's weird.
interesting, like premise. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Um,
Hmm.
and I like that they didn't kill her off. Like she's still gonna be around. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see her in a movie or in another TV show. And I'm really excited to see her because I think she had a lot of potential as a villain, even
Mhm.
now that she's powerless.
Yeah, definitely. I when honestly the eighth episode for me gave me like an initial sorry like bad impression because it felt like very generic like or not generic but like very I don't know thin origin story for her.
For a villain, yeah.
Yeah, and but I mean honestly I'm fine like the rest of the show works. I'm fine if they want like a very basic villain type. It's fine like because she works symbolically and whatnot. um but also oh yeah for the moment where they revealed her like obviously I also hear theories here about this, but I mean I like I said I'm very open to this. I'm very like open-minded to whatever happens. If they wanted her to be Agatha Harkness, that's fine. If they wanted her to be some made-up character called I don't know Agatha Harkness, just change things, I'm fine. I don't mind. But when they revealed it like the whole episode, like they build up to the end and the twist is that she because I felt like the twist was weirdly handled
Yeah.
because because the way they play it, and it's the same way that they play the whole "you are the Scarlet Witch" thing. The way they play it, it feels more like they want the twist to be, oh, here's her name, where when in fact the twist should be, hey, she's the bad guy. And so it's weird because they did it the other way around because it because for people who don't know who that character is, they're
Me.
gonna be like they're gonna be like, wait, so what does that mean, like and for people who do know who that character is, they're gonna be like, wait, so what does that mean? So it's kind of strange. It just feels weird. I feel like a slightly more clever way to handle it would have been like um they reveal the name before, like Wanda is inside her house and she sees, like, I don't know, something like the Voyager thing from Star Trek where it's like she sees that her name Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness but with the middle of the name like blurred out, and she's like, that's weird. And then the comic fans know, oh gosh, she's a bad guy, but we don't know. And then you build
Yeah.
up and it's like, oh, she's a bad guy, and everybody finds out. Because the other way around the other way around, it makes the order of the dramatic beats feel very strange. Like, I'm not sure because I wasn't shocked by it. I was kind of like, oh, she's the villain, and then they said her name, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go to class. So it was, I don't know, it didn't hit me like I think it hit a lot of people, but I do feel like that's what that's what I would. I feel like just saying names doesn't have much meaning if you don't give the
If you
audience
don't know the,
context.
if
Yeah,
you don't
even
know like comics.
yeah, even if the audience knows, because I still don't know who she is, but I do remember her from one of those. I think it was one of those Vision comics from the miniseries that I told you about in the first episode that was from 2015, but I never knew what she was. Um,
I investigated.
oh, great.
She's a witch, and
Yeah.
she was the one that told Wanda that her twin sons were
Oh,
the
yeah.
soul
Yeah.
of Mephisto.
Yeah. That's right.
And
That
so
I
she
do
was like
remember.
the catalyst for Wanda, like, uh, well, going crazy in the comics.
Yeah. I think I do remember that. But I did she also like create some kind of person? Like she created a husband or something. She's done a lot of those things where she's just
Yeah,
like
I think
messing with
so.
her with Wanda to make her crazy. So yeah, but because it to me it just saying the name feels very like Star Trek Into Darkness type thing, where it's like
My
my
name is
name is Khan,
Karen. And I'm like,
and everyone in the audience, everyone who knows what that means and everyone who doesn't know what that means collectively goes, what?
what?
Who cares? And so yeah,
Yeah,
it's
me.
weird.
I watched those movies for Chris Pine because I've never watched like Star Trek
Ev-
before,
Everyone
and I
watched them
was
only for
like,
that.
"What is going on? Like, who is he?" Like, yeah,
I don't know. I don't care. Stop telling me names. I don't care.
a very
I
hollow
just want a story.
revelation in
Yeah,
Star Trek.
yeah. Which is the same reason why I feel like why it was very. I mean, we'll talk about Star Wars when we talk about Star Wars, but I always thought it would be like why I think it would have been very odd and dumb for like episode 8 to be like, oh, your name is Kenobi, Ray Kenobi, something like that, because it'd be like, oh, twist name, and then nothing. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it when we talk about it, but I feel like these same principles apply to a lot of things. So it's
Yeah,
yeah. Um, other than that, I liked her as a
yeah, she
sorry,
was
as an
really
antagonist.
solid. Yeah,
Yeah, I think she played her role pretty well, and I mean the twist for all that I said about how it technically is kind of dumb, the twist overall works, so I'm fine with that. It's well set up, it pays off well, and it changes the rhythm of the story without changing
hmm,
the flavor or the nature of it, in my
yeah,
opinion.
agree.
So yeah, I think it works quite fine.
Yeah.
Wait, but she's not the only villain though. We can also talk about what's his name? Hayward?
Ah,
Hayward?
Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was boring,
he's
but
a jerk.
yeah. Yeah, he was very he was kind of like a it's just very strange because Marvel Studio has a very weird relationship with how they um represent or portray like either the army or the FBI or the CIA
Yeah,
and all those organizations because it's always like there are bad people inside these organizations and that's what's bad, something like that.
not the
uh,
organization itself.
yeah, and I mean I know it's not always that black and white,
Yeah,
but but that's why it's weird for me. So I guess he was because it's the same thing, because do you remember when Captain America the Winter Soldier came out and it was like
yeah.
these guys are bad because they have weapons that could kill anyone at any point, and then what, not even 10 years later, Tony Stark has the same weapons and we never even addressed. It's fine when he does it, well, I mean, he's dead now. It's fine when he
Really?
has them, but it's not fine when bad people have them because bad people. So yeah,
Yeah.
the ethics of this Marvel universe are just all over the place sometimes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
And
weird.
that's today's tea.
But yeah, but you know, I guess for the just for the moment, I think he worked fine. And plot wise, I mean, he served his purpose. He was an obstacle for the other heroes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I after Actress was revealed to be Agatha, I thought like, hey, where is gonna be Mephisto? I couldn't give it a rest. I was like, where's Mephisto? Like,
But can you imagine like the revelation scene? It would have been like Jimmy Woo walks into like hell and he's like 5 minutes on it, and then he this guy like Hayward comes out like full like red bot. He looks like the Navi from Avatar but red, and then he's like killing a bunch of people, and then he gets close and he's like, my name is Mephisto.
Mephisto.
And it's like, oh, like after 10
Oh,
minutes, oh, he's the bad guy. Like yeah, I can just picture it. No, but you go on. I just wanted to make that joke.
it's a good joke. Um,
Thanks for the sympathy.
oh my god. Uh, yeah, Hayward. I think he was. They were given like little hints that he was like evil because he was the one that kind of like pushed Wanda into like, imagine if you brought back Vision. He's the love of your life. You can bring him back.
Yeah.
He was like kind of the one that pushed him,
Hmm.
push her. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I like that because I thought he was just sketchy, like, but I didn't think he was like I don't know. I thought he was like a typical corporal guy,
Yeah.
not like an actual villain. And I like that he was kind of like given the little hints,
Hmm.
and that it was revealed that he was actually like a really bad guy because he wanted to, well, yeah, for what he did to like Vision, and that
Yeah.
he kind of like wanted to push Wanda to the edge and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I liked him.
One of the interesting things about how he was handled, I think, and I just thought of this, is that he has that line where he's like, yeah, nothing bad is gonna happen to me after this, because when when it's all said and done, I'm gonna have this new vision weapon, and they're all gonna like me for it.
Yeah.
Better written that. And I'm like, interesting.
Interesting.
So are we saying that the problem is the way that this institution is built, in that it's supposed to make like weapons like regardless of what their ethical implications are, or are we not gonna
Reminds
say it?
me a lot of Age of Ultron when they first
Yeah,
created like Ultron for the first time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Which I
later
mean,
Vision.
yeah, which I mean, I like that movie, but I always have an issue with like the resolution where it's like, oh no, we accidental like we were arrogant. We created this robot that's to save the world, and we were wrong. How do we solve it?
We
Let's
created
make
another
another one, but
one.
a good one. So it's very weird. So I mean, that's a perfect encapsulation of how this whole universe
Works.
usually works. And I say that as
I
someone who
love
likes it. So
superheroes. I just love this
right,
campy
they're
stuff.
so messy and dumb, and they destroy like the ability to have discourse about anything, but I
Yeah,
like them so much.
me too.
um but yeah, so
So yeah,
Hayward was the other villain. What else? Who else could we say as a villain, or what? It was just them. So well, I mean,
I
White
think it
Vision, I
was
guess we
just
already mentioned.
like it
Yeah.
was just them. And initially, we all thought it was gonna be Wanda, but we
Hmm.
were proven wrong.
Hmm.
And that's it.
I think it's they're both very thinly written villains. I think they just play the part of like foils in the way that like um they want what she's they want what she's having, but they want it for other reasons. Like he wants vision because he wants power, because the institution needs weapon, and so on and so forth. And she wants power because, well, I mean, she probably wants to do bad things with it, although we're not told that.
Weird.
So it's the difference, like when I think they say in the last episode, right, like Wanda is like, like I was doing this mostly by accident, like I started doing this on accident, and I just
Yeah,
got carried away with it, and you want to do it because of cruelty and whatnot.
yeah,
And like, yeah, that's a little simplified, but it's fine, and it makes sense, and it's true in this case. So
yeah. It worked.
it's,
It
yeah,
worked.
exactly, yeah. I feel like for, I feel like just critiquing that would be just asking for too much. So I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be in peace with this.
with that.
Um. So okay, we're done with the villains. What else can we talk about, like more specifically?
Format or supporting characters? What do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I guess I mentioned briefly. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need a fact check on this because I'm not sure. Can you fact check me on this quickly,
Yeah,
or should we
sure.
let the audience?
Uh,
Okay. So wait. So Monica
she's
Rambeau.
the second Captain Marvel in the comic
Right.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember because there's a Miss Marvel show confirmed, and if I'm not mistaken, I feel like they have said that it's gonna be Kamala Khan, and I was like excited for this because she would be the first like Muslim superhero. Not
Yeah.
sadly not on the big screen, but as close as we
As
can
we
for the
can
moment.
get. Yeah.
And so but I had also heard that Monica was gonna be here, and of course they introduced her in Captain
In
Marvel,
Captain Marvel.
and so it's like what's gonna happen? Are there gonna be like two Miss Marvels simultaneously, or is she gonna be like a mentor? I mean, I'm not
I have
I
no
don't actually.
clue.
Yeah, I know you don't know, and I don't know either. I'm just saying like what will happen. But yeah, so I mentioned earlier Rambo. I think she works fine. I think as it works as smoothly as a parallel as it could, given that we know it's done more for marketing and all that. But it works. Yeah, I mean that's comics. We're just getting we're just getting things that feel more like comics every
Every
year, right?
day, yeah.
Yeah.
You know
How'd you
what's
feel about her?
weird?
What's up?
What is weird that Carol Danvers was originally like Miss Marvel and Monica
Yeah.
Rambeau was Captain Marvel, and now it's switched. So I think that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
that's strange.
It's strange and interesting. Like, what are they gonna do? We don't know. We just want
No
more
idea.
content. Yeah,
Please, more product now.
more like
No, unironically. No, but
yeah.
okay, so that's as far as she goes.
Oh,
What do you think?
I like her scene with the
Oh,
twins.
God.
Yeah, where
Oh
she
yeah, I
caught
mean it was
like the
short, but yeah,
bullets and
yeah,
and they were like nice tricks, and I was like, I like yours. I love the twins. Yeah,
yeah.
that's all.
We didn't talk
That
about them actually. We forgot to talk about them.
we can talk now. We're talking about supporting characters, right?
Oh right, good
And
point.
yeah, I really like them. I like them especially in the '90s episode, which
That
is
was the one
when
go on.
the one with the superpowers, because the other one that the past episode was about the dog.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so I like the '90s episode because I don't know, and they're really cute. I really like their interactions. They felt like real brothers in a way.
Hmm.
I liked it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really like them too. I like that, even though I like that we have this balance where like we get to know them, not much, but like we get to kind of get them,
Yeah,
while not drifting away from the central story, because
yeah.
in that way they make us care when they
When they
pass away,
disappeared, I was so sad.
without making it feel like, oh no, like we waste time on them, like they just it's a balance. It works. That was fine.
Yeah.
um yeah, I questioned whether or not they were gonna grow up by the end, but yeah, I like that they stayed as kids. I think that's really cool.
I was I knew they were not gonna make it to the end. Like I knew it, but I was like
I wasn't
very
sure.
hopeful. Like please, just like I want the kids alive. Like, but
even
the ending scene
even if it
gave me
breaks
hope.
Wanda's character arc. Sorry.
Uh, no, I knew I wouldn't sacrifice character arc
Yeah,
for
I'm
my
kidding.
petty needs for the twins. But it gave me
I
a lot
would.
of hope, like the final scene, like
Uh-huh.
where she's one day is like doing the Doctor Strange thing, separating her body and learning like magic.
Mhm.
Where she was doing that and she hurt her kids. I was like,
That was
yes,
weird.
please
Yeah.
bring them back. Like, yeah,
what's
even if
what's
it's just
uh
like cameo or something.
what's unfortunate about it is that we're probably gonna start over with the same cycle where like people make theories and then none of them comes true because the filmmakers would rather just have a simple story with some vague references than have, like, I don't know, Galactus show up and punch Vision in the face or something like that, and
Wow,
then
yeah.
everyone's gonna hate it, and then I'm gonna like it because I like it when the fans of Marvel get angry.
Who's the biggest villain, Galactus or Thanos in comics? I'm not sure.
Would you say biggest in size or biggest in what way?
Like biggest threat.
Biggest threat? I think it might. I mean, you know how comics are. Every couple years, it's a new guy. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Excuse me.
DC is very consistent. It's always gonna be like Dark Side. So that's
Yeah,
why
I guess.
I asked like
Yeah,
who's the
no, with
biggest threat.
Marvel, it's like literally like it was Thanos. No, sorry, it was obviously Galactus, and then it was Thanos, and then like there's literally that story in the early 2000s called Marvel: The End, and it's Thanos ends everything. He just destroys everything and everyone, and it's very dumb.
Nice.
But I mean, it's there's always like a bigger fish, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the stranger, but not the Superman stranger. Oh, actually, it's Lord Chaos and Master Order, but actually, it's the, oh my God, what's the name? The the one that it has like a judge. Oh
Oh.
God, what's the name? I can't believe I'm missing it. They mentioned them in like in Doctor Strange, where it's like the baton of the Judge Supreme. No, what's the name? What's the name? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot
Someone please fact check us on that.
what's I can't believe because I really like that character because it's like this morally neutral, supposedly judge of everything, and like it can decide whether the Infinity Stones have power or not. But I
Oh,
I,
that's
I
so
can't remember her name.
cool.
I'm half expecting like a chat here to correct me, but I don't have
But
anyone here.
maybe one day we do it live, like we can get like
That,
check.
yeah, that will be cool. So I really hope if I remember it just throughout the discussion, I'll mention it.
Yeah, and
People watching
interrupt
this
me.
probably know.
Like, yeah, if you remember, like, yeah, feel free.
Thank you. So yeah, it's probably that character, but I mean tomorrow it might be some new guy, so I don't know.
Yeah. The FBI agents and the doctor, like Jimmy Woo and Darcy Lewis. What do you think about
I like them. I really like Jimmy. I think
them?
I
Yeah, me
like
too.
I can't. I was really happy every time he shows up, and I really like. I don't know if it was the 6th or 7th episode. There's this like the episode starts. We get a few scenes, and then the Living Tribunal. That's the name. Living Tribunal. That's the name.
Oh,
Of the character.
nice. Thanks.
Um, oh my God. I almost feel like my brain is bleeding. Um, no, but what was he saying? That Jimmy Woo. There's this episode where like we start, we get all this, and then we cut, and it's just him walking. We see him from behind, and it's like, oh, it's Jimmy. And then we cut to the front, and he's got this like smile of like like the guy who in Mondays comes with a good attitude. It's just really great. It's really
Yeah,
contagious.
he's really wholesome.
Yeah, he's very wholesome and charismatic, and it's just really cool. I like him more than I ever like Colson or something like that. He just feel like very, very sincere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I like, by the way, that he was introduced as a kind of minor antagonist, and now he's like
He's
just
like very
this.
well liked.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's very weird, and I don't know if he's a character from comics, and I honestly don't really care because I just like him as he is.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
like I don't know. He's probably gonna become like I don't know, like Mr. Marvel or something like that. That's not a character. But yeah, sorry. What do you think of them? Oh, and
I
Darcy.
like
Sorry, I like her too. Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
I like him a lot. I really like the pairing between Darcy and Jimmy. I thought like they were a really comedic duo. I was
Uh-huh.
living for their interactions, especially I think it was episode 4 when it was all focused outside the hex,
Mhm.
and we got to see like the other supporting characters, and they were like just talking about and watching the show and commenting on it, and I was like, wow, that's really like cool, like and they were all like sharing theories about it, and like that's a
Mhm. Oh yeah.
parallel to us, like yeah, we're Darcy and Jimmy outside, like so I really like kind of like that parallel. uh as separate characters, I really wish we have seen a little bit more of Darcy in the
Mhm.
end, in the first end credit scene, because she was not mentioned. We just saw Jimmy like kind of like taking over Hayward's work,
Mhm.
and I like that because I felt like it was really well deserved.
Mhm.
But I felt like we didn't have like payoff with Darcy, like we didn't have
Yeah.
like that kind of closure
Yeah, definitely. I hope he shows up in the hope she shows up in the future.
in the
And
next
him
Thor
too.
film.
Yeah, hopefully, or if not, probably in something like Secret Invasion or something like that. Because I feel like a lot of these
Yeah.
shows are gonna be linked in that way, where like Sword is gonna be the new Shield something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jimmy Woo might even show up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He might, I don't know.
Oh,
I guess
I
we'll see.
would live for that. Yeah.
That would be really cool because he would, I think he would play off nicely with like the Winter Soldier, because
Yeah.
if he's like the new face of this kind of Shield type organization, and the Winter Soldier's this like angsty like
Emo boy.
anti-hero, it's gonna be really funny because yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were cool. I also really like the ones from the neighborhood. I think they balanced all of this really well in such a way that, again, in the final episode, we both want them to get free of this, but also don't root against the protagonist. We're kind of like, oh god, like I really wish she could be happy, you know, but
Have both.
also
Yeah.
yeah, have her cake and eat it too, you know. Um,
It was a very thin line between like wanting her to well, keep everything in her life, but also like releasing the
yeah,
supporting characters. And I think it was really like successful at playing with that line.
yeah, definitely. And it's kind of like it's what I also praise a lot about Civil War, where it's like everyone's like, oh, Team Cap or Team Tony, and I'm like, well, the movie
Both of them
is
suck.
saying that they're both wrong. I mean, did you watch the movie? Did you see like what happens in it? And it's the same thing here. Like they're really cleverly balancing it in such a way that they're not saying, oh, she's the greatest hero, but they're also not saying she should be
She's
tried for crimes against
yeah.
humanity. You know, it's just she's human, and it's the same thing. Literally, it's the same thing, because this both in both cases, the story is about how at the end of the day, these characters are still humans with psychological problems and emotional problems, and you know, sometimes they will affect people around them. You know, obviously. But yeah, another instance of this show doing something that would be tough, but that they balance pretty nicely. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, ironically, the show is about balance, and they balance a lot of things really nicely. So that's nice. It'd be unfortunate
Yeah.
if it wasn't. um, uh, yeah. So wait, did you give your last piece on this, or would you like to give it
No,
on the
yeah,
supporting characters?
I think, yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So what else could we talk about specifically?
We could talk about the format and favorite episode, and then like future,
Okay. Wait, what did you say before favorite episode?
and then the future of Wanda's character or something like that.
Okay. So go ahead if you want. You go ahead and start. I'm gonna drink water.
Yeah, sure. I like I was reading a lot online, and the first three episodes I really enjoyed them. But a lot of people were getting really impatient, and they really wanted like the MCU feel, the superhero like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fine with it for the first time in my life because, as I mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of sitcoms. I was fine with it. I was really enjoying it, but a lot of people were really like desperate for that kind of MCU feel.
Yeah.
And we had episode four, which was completely MCU.
Uh
Uh,
huh. Yeah.
and I think like the creators really like anticipated that kind of need because I thought it was gonna be like back into the 80s, and we
Mhm.
didn't. Instead, we got that break, which was a really like nice change of pacing.
Yeah.
An explanation because we didn't know at the same time what was going on. So I
Mhm.
liked that. And then we got back to the sitcom format, but at the same time, it was a balance between what was happening in and outside the house. So I really enjoyed that kind of
Mhm.
pacing and that kind of format because it was a lot more personal as a show, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like with the first few episodes, I really appreciated a lot of things about it. It felt really fresh, that there was absolutely no like violence, even in any like
Yeah.
verbal violence. There was a little, but just overall, it felt very like just natural, like human conflict and resolution, and a lot of the comedy worked for me, so I was like fine with it. And then like I genuinely didn't feel like I really loved any episode up until I think the eighth one, and of course I even had problems with that one. Um, but I feel like you said, I feel I can say better. Yeah, like it's they handle well the both formats, and they when they start cutting in between them, it works. So yeah, I have no complaints about the format. I think they did as best they could. I was very interested when this was announced about the format, and ultimately, I mean, that was over a year ago. I think all of my expectations, the important ones at least, were fulfilled.
We're
Like
met. Yeah.
yeah, like I got pretty much exactly what I would want. Like this is very like out there, weird, dumb comic book stuff, but it's also like at the end of the day, it's just like a story about understanding this character and getting to
Yeah.
really know her. Yeah, so
An
it's
exploration of
best
grief.
of both
Yeah.
worlds. Yeah, so
Yeah.
absolutely best of both worlds. So you said, yeah, okay, so I guess we should talk about the future now, right?
Do you have a favorite episode? I think you mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's either 8 or 9. I guess because eight, the start, I said I felt it was very cookie cutter, like
Yeah.
the origin, and then with the last episode, I had some issues with the action, but ultimately, I think the last episode made more Marvel fans angry. So for that reason, I'm gonna like it more.
A
I'm
lot
gonna
more.
say, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's for me. It's probably the ninth episode, which is a really good sign for any show. So, what was yours?
I like the 90s and the early 2000s episodes a lot.
That was
uh,
the Halloween episode, and the one where she's inside her house, like I'm fine,
having
right?
a breakdown,
Okay,
and she
okay,
like,
okay, okay.
yeah. I don't
Sure,
know.
sure.
It gave me a lot of memes that I am using now with my friends. Like
that's
whenever,
the that's the only criteria for when something is either good or bad for anything in any context. So yeah.
but
um
like ignore that fact that now I use WandaVision references to like annoy my friends. I really did enjoy, like, I am very biased. I love the 90s and I love the early 2000s because most of my favorite shows are from those
yeah,
decades. Uh,
absolutely.
so I really like uh, how it really felt like from those decades. Like
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
the 90s, like they made a comparison with the Malcolm in the Middle and the WandaVision intro, and it works. Like
Uh-huh.
it's really like well structured to feel like a 90s sitcom. So I really did
Hmm.
appreciate like a lot more. And also the 90s episode is the one where WandaVision get to wear like the iconic
Oh yeah.
from iconic costumes from the comics, so I really appreciate it. It was the episode where we got the most of Quicksilver, so I liked it. Uh,
Hmm.
and the twins were really great on that episode, so I really like the 90s. And the early 2000s, it was just a lot of fun, like for Vision, watching how Vision finally understood what happened to him. It really came together during that episode, and it's the one that reveals that it was Agatha all along with that phenomenal
Yeah.
song. So bonus point for that song.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are my two favorite episodes.
Great. So actually, this might be the first time we have this might be the closest we have to like an open disagreement
Yeah.
on one of these shows. So that's fine. I don't think, because I don't hate any of those episodes and you don't hate any of mine, so it's not that big a deal. We're not gonna fight over this.
No.
That's fine. But it's great because there's a little bit of everything for everyone. I've seen all kinds of reception to this show. Like among the people that I follow, whose like judgment I respect. Um, that I've seen like all over the place. Like I didn't really dig it. I thought it was good up until we got into the real world. I thought it was terrible up until we got to the real world. I thought this was terrible. I thought it was great. It's all over the place, which suggests to me that it's really good. Generally, that's kind of
I have never met someone that told me it was terrible. Like,
well, I mean, I might be exaggerating, but in the sense that like it's boring Marvel thing, you know. I
yeah.
follow people from all over the film spectrum, just to put it that way. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I'm used to those kinds of takes because I make them myself too, but I'm also a fan. So yeah. So I guess we should now talk about the future, right?
Yeah.
With all
What do
this.
you think it's gonna happen next? We'll
Yeah.
see if
So
we're right when Doctor Strange comes out and we look like fools.
yeah. So literally just yesterday, I was talking to a friend about this because she just finished WandaVision, and she asked me like, what's coming next? And I realized I have no idea because I've not been on the hype train for anything since like Star Wars 9, and obviously not for any Marvel thing since Endgame. Like for me, Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
was kind of like, you know, it came out, it happened.
Yeah.
So and I do miss those days. I miss being very excited for like for Endgame. But yeah, so
Before
what's
the
cool is that
disappointment.
we what's cool is that um with with this, I feel like with Marvel, for the rest of this show, we're gonna get things that are all over the place. And
Yeah.
that and we're
Especially
gonna
with the
get
whole
invested
multiverse
in.
thing.
Yeah, because like I mean, the next show literally nothing to do with what we just watched. And if I remember correctly, I think Black Widow is scheduled to come out right after Falcon and Winter Soldier, or a little bit after, which also will have nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
Although I do think it might be thematically and emotionally some parallels there, because you know
Oh,
character
yeah.
the character, yeah. Yeah, so it might be a nice piece to like compare it to. And then I think Loki comes out, which will also
Yeah,
probably have
nothing to
nothing to do with
do with
anything.
it.
And I mean, I feel like a traitor for saying this. I'm not really interested in it, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. I already know.
Yeah, same.
Um, and after that, I think it's What If.
I think it is a Spider-Man. No, Spider-Man is until December.
Yeah, Spider-Man until December. I think it's What If, and which I mean that sounds interesting. I feel like we could explore some cool things there. But it's
Yeah.
also nothing. I mean, it has something to do with this, maybe multiverse, but nothing to do with this. It's not going to follow up on this, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then I think is Ms. Marvel going to come out this year? I don't think
I
so.
don't
No.
know.
Maybe I think She-Hulk is also so far scheduled to come out this year. I don't think it will, but if it
No, they're
does,
probably gonna
yeah,
like delay it.
yeah, and then Eternals, like what even is that? I
I'm
don't
not that
know,
interested,
but I'm
but
not I'm not too interested, but I'm not actually the other way around. I'm not too excited, but I'm very interested because the last time I knew
oh,
nothing about like a Marvel thing, that ended up being like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean
and
that
it
was
was
great. Yeah.
yeah,
And then I think it's Spider-Man, and I
yeah,
think it's next year when we start getting like Doctor Strange, you know, and then
yeah, the
whatever
multiverse
else is
and
coming out.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think what's gonna happen is that this year they're gonna go, like they're gonna make us care about a bunch of story arcs, because also this the scroll thing at the end. I think,
Captain Marvel too. Yeah,
yeah, and I completely forgot about
Captain Marvel.
Secret War. No, Captain Marvel. Yeah, it's about Secret War, because it feels like there's gonna be two big stories in this phase. One of them is gonna be this multiverse thing, and the other one's gonna be like Secret War,
Yeah,
probably. I hope they don't clash, because it's gonna feel very weird, because one of them is very like political thriller and the other one is very like dumb. You can choose which one's which. I don't mind. and so yeah, I mean, I'm interested because I like that idea of two recurring storylines.
storylines rather than
That's
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, maybe even three, because I don't think Eternals is going to be about either of them. I mean, I don't know, Scrolls might show up, but I don't think it's going to be that related to anything. I think it's going to be very accessible,
Yeah.
which sounds crazy given what it is, but yeah, I think it's going to be just like an accessible blockbuster, which
Blockbuster movie.
I really
Yeah.
hope I
We're
really hope
wrong.
yeah, I really hope we can watch it in the cinema. So
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that'd be nice because it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be this big, massive, great looking thing. The director just made a No Man Land. I'm not sure if you watched it yet, but I watched it like last month and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And she's getting a lot of praise for it. So I don't know. It might be the next like surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I'm waiting for it to be a surprise, it's not gonna be much of a surprise. But like, but the real question is when am I gonna get my Silver Surfer TV show? When?
We will never
I'm
know.
waiting for it.
I'm
I'm
waiting
still
for a good
campaigning for it.
Fantastic Four movie.
but
I
but I want to see a naked man painted silver floating in space.
He
Is
was in
that too much
Fantastic
to ask for?
Four in
And
the
he's
second
great.
one.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
great. I don't know if I'm saying that seriously or not. Um, no, but I mean, come on, sign my petition. Almost 3 people have signed my petition to get that show. So yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah, just a
Um,
couple more.
what do you think of the future? I know I was just joking a lot because but I'm interested, but I just want to see where it goes. How do you feel?
Uh, I'm excited, but not just in general of Marvel, as in general for like superhero genre, because
Huh? Oh yeah.
yeah, I really like that they're gonna be playing with the multiverse in DC and in Marvel as a
Yeah.
whole, because it's gonna give them a lot more freedom to explore different characters, different dynamics, different things. And I like that because in the comics, it gives them a lot more freedom to play with characters already established and
Yeah.
now like create their own, kind of like fan fiction, but not fan
Yeah.
fiction. So I'm really digging that whole like storyline. I might be disappointed, I might not, but I until now
That's
it looks really promising. So yeah, in the
yeah.
future of the MCU, I I don't know how it's gonna work because they have never been working with the multiverse
Yeah.
before, like not that well. Like so, yeah. Let's see
Yeah.
how it goes.
And I guess what you said about the overall like landscape of superhero movies changing, I think that's cool. I think last week we mentioned the potential Superman film, possibly like probably like with an African American lead, but
No,
probably
we
Michael B.
talked about
Jordan.
that privately.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yeah.
I want well, so if we haven't talked about it, I'm gonna say it right here. If that does come out, that's gonna be really awesome because like I mean
My only concern is the producer,
oh
JJ
yeah.
Abrams. Yeah.
Wait, are you wait, did we really only talk about it in private? Yeah. Oh
Yeah, we
yeah,
talked about it in
we talked about it
private.
after we recorded the other discussion, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
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 no,
yeah.
that's yeah, so for anyone who is not in the know, it seems like JJ Abrams,
Please
director of
no.
one episode of Lost at least, famous only for that and nothing else, will be at least a producer um
No, he
in
also
the
made Star Trek and he
I know.
also made
I'm kidding.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
and he
he made a lot of mistakes in both franchises. So forgive me if I am very very sad that he's gonna be the one responsible for my favorite superhero. I nearly cried. I was like, really, why?
this is like there's a guy I followed online a couple of years ago who before Iron Man 3 came out, his favorite superhero was always Iron Man and his favorite director was always Shane Black.
Oh
And
my
so Iron Man 3
god.
was like the perfect storm. And I feel like you have the exact opposite where it's like your favorite franchise and probably the person who you would least like to be
Yeah.
in charge of it. Um so yeah, so just I mean I hope he has nothing to say creatively about it.
Please, like, please.
um but I mean other than that, I mean I have my issues with Joker, but if they make like that kind of film with Superman, because I mean if it's an African American Superman, you can tell a very interesting story, I think, with like
Yeah.
what it which I also hope that Falcon and Winter Soldier will kind of get into these themes where like it's oh, it's the American hero, but in like the country with a history of like racism,
For
you know, what's gonna
racism,
happen
yeah.
there? Yeah, so it's like you can do something amazing with it, which is also why I agree with you about the whole creative freedom. It gives more opportunity to tell all of these unconventional stories, which do two things that I really like. One thing that they can do that I really like is, well, they can be creative, you know, they can be they can
Yeah.
do say interesting things, and the other thing is they can really make Marvel fans angry. So that's another great thing that I'm
That I'm looking
potentially very happy
forward.
about. Yeah. So yeah, so that it looks like an interesting landscape. Honestly, I'm very glad to say that even with Marvel being like losing its two biggest characters,
Character,
not just in
yeah.
general, but for me, like they were the crux for me, and potentially also Black Widow, who was my third favorite character. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I'm still interested after the heartbreak that I went through with Star Wars, that's like that's
That's
an
a,
accomplishment, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say this show really bumped. Like I liked Wanda, but this show really bumped her up to like the top of
Yeah,
my
for me
list.
too. Yeah,
And Vision.
absolutely.
So yeah, and Jimmy Woo too.
Yeah.
So
We now like characters. I mean, we did like them before, but now
yeah,
we kind of like have a much more solid reason for liking them, and
yeah,
that's
because
great.
this was, yeah, because this show was like a really profound meditation on the nuances of the character of Jimmy Woo, and Wanda was also. Oh my God, no, I made
What's
a joke, but my
interesting?
voice, but I lost my voice, and I ruined it. That stinks. Um, but yeah, so I'm interested in the future. I'm
Me
really
too.
I'm really looking forward to Secret War. Potentially, that's another story. I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I have never read it. I've not read a single word
Me
of it.
neither,
I don't
but
know
like,
anything other than the premise that it's some kind of like, oh God, everyone's a scroll. Are you a scroll? No, you're not. Oh, so that kind of thing. Because because it's potentially very Winter Soldier esque in how it's gonna be dealt with, you know.
yeah.
And also, this is very weird. Oh, actually, I have to say this in podcast because I've not seen any tweets about it, but my sister told me there's this thing where like there's this question about how the Nick Fury and on Earth, for how long he's been a Skrull.
A squirrel, yeah.
Yeah,
In
because
Spider-Man 2.
because like my sister told me that there's this line he has in Captain Marvel when he's young, where he's like something about sandwiches. We're like, I don't cut my sandwiches in half, and then in Age of Ultron he does it, and it's like, oh God, was he a Skrull like since 2015? And that,
Interesting.
yeah, that the reason why I'm interested in that is because I really like his arc in the Winter Soldier, and I always felt like Avengers 2 kind of regressed him a little, like it felt like a different character. So that might be a way that, like, I'm just hoping for some Winter Soldier respect to what that movie did, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Well
yeah,
deserved respect. Yeah.
yeah, and just one last thing. I mean,
Sure.
for one last thing for me, it's gonna be really interesting what they do with the Secret War, because I mean, again, I've not read it, but Skrulls are generally villains in comics, so I imagine that that's some kind of big like conspiracy to take over the world. And in the MCU, what we've done with them, which I love, is that they are just like political refugees from across the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like some of them, like a faction of them, I think was like bad, but most of them are just like a minority and they're just prosecuted. So what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? Because you could
Interesting.
tell, and Captain Marvel did this. You know, Captain Marvel did a lot of like subtle and well, not subtle, half measure, I would say. It wasn't subtle. It was just too little of it, of like kind of like allegory of these the scrolls being kind of like maybe perhaps like Muslim and Muslim people in the Middle East, where like a lot they are antagonized because of what some people who happen to be Muslim do,
Yeah.
and the same thing is happening to like scrolls. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen, and if they do some kind of nuanced political commentary, it's probably not going to be made by the MCU.
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm hopeful. Captain Marvel did a little bit of it. I mean, it was pretty thin, but it was there. So I guess we'll see. I'm exaggerating. I like a lot of what Marvel has been doing the last few years, especially like Black Panther, Captain Marvel, in terms of where they are, what statements they are trying to make, which is why I'm excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll see where this goes. Any
Sure.
last words you'd like to say on the future?
I can't wait to see Wanda again in Doctor
Oh yeah.
Strange. Yeah, also because the director is Sam Raimi from the original Spider-Man movies. So,
All right, I completely forgot. Yeah,
so
that's true.
I'm really looking forward to that movie the most.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
so
Hopefully it's great.
yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. This has been our overall take on WandaVision. We are gonna be posting on Instagram. You can follow us as at MEDIADOM Podcast. I promise we're gonna be a lot more active. I swear. We were in exams, so we weren't able to post that much. So, so yeah, but yeah, we're free. You can feel free to follow us, and you can also check up our previous discussion about WandaVision, the first two episodes.
All right, so thank you very much for watching and or listening. And so you'll hear us again next week. And yeah, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.